All right, so starting out today, we're going to start on our backs, and we're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, assuming that that feels okay in your body. So you might want to have a couple of blocks handy. If you're a little tighter in the groin, outer hips. So our Supta Baddha Konasana is our diamond pose on our back. So we're going to bring the heels together, lay back. For many of us, this can feel really, really intense. If you're in that camp, blocks any height, kind of underneath lower and upper leg to give you a little support. That should take some of the pressure out. If it's still excruciating, you're going to skip this. So you're going to just come knees bent as wide as the mat, and then they can knock in towards each other. But otherwise, Supta Baddha Konasana, if you love how this feels, no blocks is going to feel really nice. You're going to start to get that stretch in your groin. And again, if you feel like you need a little support, or as we're here for a couple of moments, if you feel like you need those blocks at any point, you can just grab them and place them underneath your knees and thighs. Welcome, Susie. All right, so make any little adjustments that you need to. You might want to snuggle your shoulder blades in towards each other so you feel them really rooting down in the mat, and you feel that openness and stretch across your heart and chest. Just pressing into the center of the back of your head. Take a nice deep inhale here. And open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Couple more times like that. Smooth, deep inhale, fill up. Sigh the breath out, sigh Monday out, the week so far, the to-do list, anything that might be stressing you out at the moment, let it go. And really start to give yourself permission here to pay attention to your breath, into your body as we begin to move. Everything else is going to be there in another hour, but see if you can just let yourself get still and quiet and focused here. You're going to start to move into your Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. You're going to hear that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. It sounds like ocean waves rolling in and out. And just soak up that sound. When your attention wanders, just come back to that sound. Observe if you're holding tension anywhere in your body that you don't need to. See if you can soften in those places. Usually that's neck, shoulders. Sometimes we grip the fingers and toes here. Maybe you're holding the inner thighs more than you need to. Just observe and see where you can release. And then from here, let's inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. So just start with the arms about shoulders distance apart, maybe even a little wider. Feel really active in your arms. It's like you're doing a downward facing dog here, even though we're laying down. So you're feeling the muscle firm towards bone. You're widening a little more across the backs of the shoulders. If you're feeling a good stretch here, stay like this. Otherwise, interlace your fingers. If your shoulders are tight, that's going to be hard. Then press your palms to face behind you. Hold on to that downward facing dog feeling. The inner arm is wrapping towards the outer arm. You're still breathing here, that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. One more deep inhale, see how long you can get. As you exhale, you're going to release your arms by your sides. So you can move the blocks out from your knees. You're just going to take your hands to the outer thighs, draw them in. And then let's come into a half happy baby here. So if your feet were wide and knees were knocking in, just bring your feet to hips distance apart. It's as though you're going to come into bridge pose. We're going to bend our right knee. And again, just depending upon your body, how it's feeling, you're going to pull down on that right thigh, hamstring area. Few of us might be able to grab the outer edge of the foot. And so my arm is coming to the inside of the leg. And then you want to keep both hip plates underneath you, pressing evenly. You're using the strength of your arm to help release this right knee towards the floor. Tailbone is directing forward. There might be a slight curve in your lower back, but it's probably fairly flat here. I'm going to feel a little hip opening. Take a couple more breaths. Good. On your next exhale, release that right leg down. And then we're going to take that half happy baby to the other side, which may feel entirely different. So just gauge it. If you're really tight, you're going to just pull down on that left thigh. Otherwise, you can grab the outer edge of that left foot. So arm again comes to the inside of the leg. Keep pressing evenly into both hip plates. That left or right one rather might want to get a little light here. Breath smooth and steady. Using the strength of that left arm to just get into this hip opener here. Good. One more deep inhale. Exhale. We release, then we're going to come into our full happy baby here. So do the variation that feels best for you. And it's going to be easy to feel that sacrum pressing evenly on the floor. And you can just gaze up at the ceiling. Maybe see if you can widen across the backs of your shoulders a little more. For sure, intense stretch, inner thigh, groin area, outer hip. You might even be feeling in the glute and in the hamstring a little bit. When we're deep, inhale. And then exhale, release. Squeeze your knees in, just rock back and forth a couple times. So side to side, rather. And then let's do legit back and forth this time. If it feels okay on your spine. If it doesn't, you skip it. But we're going to roll all the way up here. So coming to a tabletop. Let's do a few rounds of cat-cow. It's kind of hard to miss that. It just feels like yoga vitamins. So here we go. As you inhale, you arch into your lumbar. And then as you exhale, you firm the mat away. With the back of your neck release down, chin towards chest. Continue like that, moving with your breath. So you're finding a pace that feels good for you. You're soaking up that sound of your Ujjayi breath. I'm just starting to bring some gentle movement into your spine. This might be the first time today that you're moving like this. So go slow, go easy. Pay attention to how things are feeling. On your next inhale, come back to neutral spine. Walk your hands forward quite a bit. So we no longer want our shoulders over our wrists. We're giving ourselves a little space for a downward dog. Curl your toes under. And then let's just keep a bend in our knees as we start to stretch our sit bones up towards the ceiling. So pretty generous bend. Allow your head to release between your inner arms. So you're gazing between your feet. And you're going to stay up on your right toes. Just release your left heel back any amount. You might be feeling that in the calf a little bit. Back up to tippy toes, bend in the knees, stretch sit bones up towards the ceiling a little more, and then melt that opposite heel back. Get up to tippy toes, stretch the sit bones, feel all of that length through the sides of your waist. Can you hold on to that as you start to melt your heels back any amount? You might choose to keep a deep bend in your knees. And then from here, let's just walk our hands back to meet our feet. Nice and slow. When we get here, let's bring our hands to our shins. Chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So in your Ardha Uttanasana, let's hold here for a few breaths. Squeeze the elbows in. This is like a standing cobra pose. Maybe peek at your feet. Make sure that your second and third toe are pointing forward. As we exhale, we're going to fold back in. Couple times like that. Inhaling Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen through the sides of your waist. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Good, exhale, fold in. And then inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart, and we start to flow right away here today. Inhaling, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge, forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward, back in this Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. 2 more on your own, moving with your breath. Maybe closing your eyes, especially if you know these well. That just has a way of helping us to draw inward a little more, to notice the physical sensations that we're getting. And if your eyes are open, that's absolutely fine too. Just keeping a soft, steady gaze so you're not looking around. Good. When you're done with that second round, just standing in your mountain pose, Tadasana, palms together at your heart. Breath smooth and steady. And we're at the back of our mat here. So as you inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward, nice and slow. Lead with your right hand. Start to walk out to your downward facing dog. Good, take a full cycle of breath here. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. And then pull your lower belly in and up as you inhale again. Shift forward into your plank pose. So shoulders land over your wrists. Gaze an inch or two in front of your fingertips. So the back of the neck is nice and long. You're firing up the legs. Hips are in line with shoulders. A simple pose, but not an easy pose per se. Great pose for building lots of strength in the entire body. Shift a little further forward on your toes. Come to your knees. So notice how your hips are way forward of your knees. We want that. So we exhale, we bend our elbows to halfway. Gazing forward, modified Chaturanga. You're still breathing here. You're holding here. Maybe the arms start to shake a little bit. One more deep inhale. Exhale, land on your belly. Tops of the feet press, so all 10 toes lengthen back. Little low cobra moving with the breath. So as you inhale, chest extends forward and up as you anchor into the lower half of your body. As you exhale, lower down. Inhaling, lengthening forward. Elbows are squeezing in as you exhale, lower down. Couple more. Inhale, coil forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhaling, holding here. Maybe see if you can spin a little more to the outer edges of your feet. The inner thighs are wrapping up towards the ceiling. As you exhale here, press into your hands, come to your tabletop, curl your toes under. And then this time we walk our feet forward to meet our hands at the top of the mat. As you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. If you do have blocks, just make sure that they're at the top of your mat. All right, and we're going to move a little more here. So inhaling, stretching arms up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Right foot stays forward, step your left foot way back. Land on that knee. And then you want to just make sure that right knee is over right ankle. And we're going to hang out here for a few breaths. This might be a place, if you're really tight in this left hip flexor, this might be a great place to grab some blocks for your hands. This is called bringing the floor closer. And it's not cheating. It's called making life easier. If you're a little more on the flexible side, you might be sliding that left knee back a little further, really releasing the top of that hip flexor down. Okay, so let's start to get into this right hamstring. So we start to pull our hips back so they're landing over that left knee. This right leg comes to straight. Maybe you take the blocks with you. If you're close to a piece of wall where you're practicing, you could always use that to help you balance, especially if you are tighter. You're going to be more upright. If you're a little more open, perhaps you're forward folding a little bit here over that right leg. As you're doing that, keep dragging your right hip back. Find that breath again. Good. As we exhale, we're going to rock forward. Bring your hands up to your right thigh. Direct your tailbone down. Stretch your sternum up as you inhale. Arms reach out and up. Couple of breaths here. If you feel so inclined, you start to bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. Maybe press palms together. Really squeeze the outer hips in here to help you find stability. And then as we exhale, hands unwind. So let's curl our left toes under. So you're like in a low, low lunge here. Keep your hips this low, gaze forward. Step your right foot back to meet your left foot. And your choice this time. You can lower to your knees again, do that modified chaturanga. If you want a full chaturanga, let's pause at halfway. Exhale the rest of the breath out as you come onto your belly. Inhaling here, low cobra. If you're ready for up dog, drag hands back a lot. So check to see that your elbows are over your wrists. Inhale, shins, knees, thighs lifting up here. If that's not happening, come back to where you were. And then we make our way back to our downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths there. It's basically like what? The second or third downward dog. How is it feeling differently already? Doesn't take much movement for things to really start to open up. We're going to inhale, lift our left leg up, keep the hips even. As you exhale, step that foot through, land on your right knee. So just make sure that you have enough space, left knee over left ankle. And then we're getting into this right hip flexor, quadricep area. Lots of things attach here. This kind of like trunk area of our body. So we're usually pretty tight. So again, maybe you need to back out. Maybe this is the side where you need to back out. Use props if that's helpful. Keep breathing. Do less. And of course, if you need a little more, do more. We're going to transition back into our half splits. So we're going to get into that left hamstring. So that big muscle, the back of the upper leg. And you could be pretty upright here, especially if you're tighter. There might be a little bend in your knee. You could be using a piece of wall to help balance you. If you're a little more open, as you drag that left hip back and right hip forward, maybe you're lengthening forward through the sides of your waist. So not rounding in, but kind of stretching forward. Nice work. And then start to rock forward here. Hands up to that left thigh. Tailbones directing down. Sternum is reaching up. Inhale, arms reach out and up. Few breaths. Little modified crescent pose. Maybe you feel your sternum lift so much that your gaze comes up. You press palms. As you exhale, hands unwind. Palms plant, curl. Your right toes under. You're going to step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. We're going to do that same little sequence to the second side. We're just going to flow it all together with the breath this time. So as you inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen forward. Left foot stays forward this time, right foot back. Good. So as you exhale, sink in a little deeper. Inhale, transition into your half splits. Good. Exhale, come forward, hands to thigh. Inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, palms flat, curl right toes under, step back to your plank pose. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, your chaturanga, whatever that looks like. Inhale, you take it into the back bend that feels best in your body today. And then as we exhale, we pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, melt that left hip down. Inhale, pull back into your half splits. Exhale, forward again, hands to right thigh. Inhale, arms reach out and up. And then as we exhale, hands come to the mat. Curl left toes under, step that foot forward to meet the right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold. Pressing into your feet, stretching your arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Just do 2 rounds of classic Surya Namaskar A, just to build a little heat in our bodies. We'll just take a few breaths in our downward dog. Inhaling, stretching up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward, bend knees, plant palms, right foot back, then left. Extra inhale here in the plank pose. Exhale, shift forward a lot. Your version of your chaturanga. If you want to take chaturanga right into your up dog, you're welcome to do that. We pull back, downward facing dog. And a few breaths. Sit bones stretching up towards the ceiling. Breath smooth and steady, slowing it down in your downward dog if it's starting to speed up a little bit. And then as you inhale, gaze forward, little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. The end of your exhale, you can step right foot forward, then left. You can walk forward, run forward, hop forward, however you want to get there. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Stretching up, extended mountain pose. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Good inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward, bend knees, plant palms, left foot back, then right. Inhale here. Exhale, your version of that Chaturanga Vinyasa, moving slow and steady with the breath. We meet back in our downward facing dog here. And then from here, let's have a little intermission. So we're going to walk our hands back to meet our feet. As you inhale, chest is going to extend forward. And let's do a little outer hip stretching here. So you're going to cross your right foot in front of your left. You might need blocks here if you're really tight. And then you're just going to forward fold any amount. You're going to feel this in that outer left hip. You might be feeling it in that right leg as well. Definitely left hip area, glute area, hamstring. If you feel like you'd like to go a little deeper here, start to walk your hands off to the right. So you're moving in the direction of the leg that's crossed in front. And then I find that this just gets in to the lower back area on that opposite side a little more. And you might not be there if this is really intense. It's a doozy of a stretch. Good. Walk back to center if you took the twist. Go ahead and uncross your right leg. And then inhale, gaze forward again. Left foot crosses in front. I already felt it go to my outer right hip. I haven't even folded in. So allow yourself to fold in. And this is another really great pose to have blocks underneath your hands. Send your exhale to the places where you're feeling that really intense stretch. And then if you wanted to take that twist here so you can get in to that lower right waist area. Walk your hands off to the left. Good. We're going to come back to center. Uncross that left leg. So bring your feet to about hips distance apart as you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Lead with your left hand this time. Start to walk out to your downward facing dog. And let's take a nice deep inhale here. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And then let's inhale, a little bend in the knees, come to the tippy toes. End of your exhale, step left, then right, hop forward, walk forward, run forward, however you want to get there. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching up. Good. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot back, then left foot. See if you can stretch out this same exhale as you lower through your Chaturanga Vinyasa. We pull back to downward facing dog. Nice work. From here, inhale, lift your right leg. Keep the hips even. Exhale, step that foot through. All right, so be up on your fingertips. Really fire up that back leg. Nice deep bend in this right knee. Outer hips are squeezing in towards each other. Inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. Take a few breaths here. Resist the urge to lay your torso down on that thigh. So you're using your core a little bit here. And then start to peel your chest up. You might need a little bend in the back knee. Again, if you're tight in this hip flexor, the bend is a nice little modification. Good. Maybe gaze up, press palms. We're going to take this into the twist. So you always have the option to lower that back knee down. Otherwise, you're going to root into your left palm. Maybe you want that hand on a block. Keep pressing to the inner edge of your right foot. Start to open up. So shoulder blades stack on top of each other. Breath smooth and steady. Your gaze might be down. It might be forward. You might be looking up at your right thumb. See if you can get that left shoulder blade to squeeze in towards the right shoulder blade. And if your left knee is up, really work to straighten that back leg. So you're feeling your hamstring firm up towards the ceiling. That's going to give you more stability here. One more deep inhale. As you exhale, unwind here. So gaze forward, your choice. You're going to step back to downward dog. If you want to build a little more heat, step to your plank. Move through your Chaturanga Vinyasa. As we start to get a little more fatigued as we move through our practice, sometimes these Chaturangas can get a little sloppy. We start to glide everything together. Don't let that be you. So one breath per movement. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. All right, so you're on your fingertips here. You're pulling your belly in. You're feeling the outer hips squeeze in. Stretch your arms forward, and you can kind of gaze forward. I always like to refer to this as Rose on the Titanic. Although I think her arms are back. Close enough. All right, here we go. Peeling the chest up, coming into our full crescent pose. Tailbone is releasing down, sternum is stretching up. Maybe gaze up, press palms. And then we take this into our twist here. So you're going to root down into your right palm. Spin open. You might find that it's helpful for you to release that right knee down. Both are great options. Shoulder blades are stacking on top of each other. There's a tendency sometimes here to lean that top arm way back. You don't need to go there. You're pressing to the inner edge of your left foot. That foot, like that knee, likes to wing off to the side. So keep everything squeezing into the midline. Good, one more deep inhale. And then as you exhale, you unwind, curl the right toes under if that right knee was down. Again, your option, you step to downward facing dog. If you want a little more heat in your body, you can do these Chaturanga Vinyasas without getting sloppy. Take that. And then again, from your downward facing dog, take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Let it go, ha. All right, so inhaling, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. This time we're gonna spin into the back edge of our left foot. So warrior one is set up. So you're really directing those left toes towards the upper left-hand corner of your mat. As you're doing that though, you're dragging this right hip back. Harder to square the hips here than in our crescent pose, but we do the best we can. And we're not gonna stay here too terribly long. We're gonna actually take this into our humble warrior. Before we do that, I want you to seal into the back edge of that left foot a lot. As you exhale, release your arms behind you, interlace. I'm gonna just switch directions here so you can see. Heart reaches on your inhale. And then as you exhale, you're gonna fold in. Same thing here, press to the inner edge of that right foot as you drag that left hip forward. And then wrists are stretching forward any amount. That just kind of depends on how open your shoulders are. This is also a little balance pose here. Nice little shoulder stretch, neck stretch. All right, so stay really strong in your feet. Keep that deep bend in that right knee as you inhale. Rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Maybe press palms, gaze up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Spin onto those left toes. Chaturanga Vinyasa or downward facing dog. What do you need? What's going to feel best for you today? I'm a huge fan of less is more. As you inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step your foot through, spin into the back edge of your right foot. So we want to be heel to heel or a little wider. So make sure that you're not on like an impossible tightrope. So you might want to walk that left foot off to the left. As you press into the back edge of that right foot, that right hip is dragging forward. Pull your lower belly in, keep a deep bend in your knee as you inhale. Rise up into your warrior one. Exhale, interlace your fingers a way that feels funny. I always, when I'm doing this warrior pose, I always try to cross the finger of the leg in front so I can remember. That's my little trick. And then you're folding in to your humble warrior. Try to let the back of your neck release as you start to extend your wrists forward any amount. Couple more good breaths. Maybe observe if you're gripping your toes a lot, especially that's going to happen in that left foot. See if you can just lift them and release them. Find the four corners of the foot instead. Strong legs, inhale, rise on up. Couple of breaths here. Maybe you're gazing up, pressing your palms. As we exhale, hands come down to the mat. Spin onto your right toes, your choice. Chaturanga Vinyasa. Or your downward facing dog. Okay, we're gonna have a little stretchy breather here. So as you inhale, little bend in your knees, we're gonna hop forward to seated position. So you can kind of cross one shin in front of the other. All right, so we're gonna get a little kind of seated pigeon pose here, a little hip stretch. This is for Kathleen, she always likes this. All right, so I'm gonna take your right ankle, cross it above your left knee. If you're on the tighter side, that left leg might be quite a bit forward. Conversely, if you're a little more open, hands behind you is nice. It helps to keep the spine nice and tall. If you're a little more open, maybe you scooch your sit bone's a little closer to that left heel. We don't want to round in to do that though. So you're still sitting nice and tall. You're kind of trying to drag that right knee forward. You could even take your right hand into that right hip just to find that. And then if you're feeling this, you're going to stay here. If you'd like to go a little deeper, maybe you cradle that right leg. It's like your little baby. Extend this left leg to straight on the mat. And then just rock from side to side a little bit here. We're not going to go there where you think we might be going, Kathleen, just yet. If we have time, we're going to go there. But we're going to do something else here first. All right, so just kind of opening this up. Come back to center. Bend your left knee if that leg was extended. Release your hands, maybe scoot your hips back, give yourself a little space, and then uncross that right ankle, give the legs a little shake out. Okay, second side, always feels different. Left ankle crosses above your right knee. Fingers behind you, kind of just pressing down so you can keep the sides of your waist nice and long. We don't want to round here. If you are a little more open in your hips, you can get in a little tighter here. That's not necessary. We're all built different. We all have different things going on in our bodies. It changes day to day. Never think that the poses have to look exactly the same. Some days are just rough. Okay, so your options, stay here like this. If you're getting a good stretch, it's where you need to be. If you want a little more, maybe cradle that lower left leg with your arms, extend your right leg to straight, and then you can rock the baby. And you can see, I remembered that my right leg was getting a little lazy, so I'm pointing my toes up towards the ceiling. Beautiful work here. Okay, so we're gonna come back to center. We just back out of this the way we came in. Uncross. All right, so from here, let's cross one ankle in front of the other. You can rock forward. So from here, you could shoot it to Chaturanga if you wanted to. I'll show you that. Or you're just gonna step back to downward facing dog. If you wanna play with Chaturanga, shoot your legs back, land with bent elbows. And then we all meet back in our downward facing dog. All right, where are we going? As you inhale, right leg lifts. As you exhale, you're gonna step your right foot through. We land on our left knee again. I want you to walk your right foot off to the right a little bit. Bring both hands to the inside. Let me scoot back so we can see this a little easier. All right. So again, we're getting into this hip flexor stretch. But then you're going to also start to feel this on the inseam of that right leg. If you would like, you might start to roll to the outer edge of this right foot. And then maybe you want to come down to your forearms. So little lizard pose. And then perhaps I need a little lazy Susan yoga mat here. Maybe you curl those left toes under. So you keep gazing forward and you're going to feel some good stretches in a lot of different places. Soak it up. Okay, so you're going to lower your left knee back down. And then you're going to, if you're rolling to the outer edge of your foot, you're going to roll to the inner edge and you're going to square that hip. All right, so we're going to take this right arm. We're going to reach it underneath that right leg. And then we're going to lift up that left arm. Potentially, you just might stay here like this. for those of you that know me well. This is our flying turkey pose prep. It occurred to me that it is November. And November is the month for flying turkey pose. Okay, so if you're feeling steady here, I suggest putting the left foot down, curling those right toes under. Maybe you stay here like this. Maybe you reach that arm back and you say gobble, gobble. Great work. Hands plant down. Good. And I suggest from here, unless you're dying for a Chaturanga Vinyasa, I think that maybe just step back to downward facing dog. And when you get there, take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And we have a second side, which will be easier or harder. Let's just see what happens here. As you inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale. Step that foot through. Land on your right knee again. Pat it up if you need to. Good. And then walk that left foot to the side. You might be angling out a little bit. And then you might be rolling to the outer edge of your foot. Ooh. Breathe into the places where you're feeling this. Perhaps you come down to your forearms. That's just going to intensify things a little bit. So there's lots of little places where we can stop. You might just be resting with your hands on the block, kind of prepping that turkey, getting it ready for dinner. You might curl your toes under here. And then that's nice. It just gets into the top of that right hip flexor again. Really reach back through that right heel as you stretch forward through your sternum. Breath is smooth and steady, even though we're feeling pretty warm here. Okay. Come up to your hands. So we're going to just bringing that right foot forward, or left foot rather, forward. So knee is over ankle. All right, here we go. So we're going to snuggle this left arm under. Reach it back, and then maybe you reach your right arm back. Keep squeezing your left knee into your upper left arm. And then if you want to play with going a little deeper, place your right hand down, curl your right toes under, stretch your sternum forward as you reach your tailbone back. Maybe reach this right arm back. We're kind of a little turkey flying at an angle, smiling. This is so fun. And then we unwind here. Again, step back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And then again, let's bend our knees, come to our tippy toes, hop through, come to that seat again. So I think we have time to play with this. We're going to call this like seated flying turkey pose. That's what we're going to call it. Cross right ankle over that left knee. So we've been here before. Is it feeling a little different? So this time, if you'd like, and it feels available in your body, and you can continue to sit tall, you might make a little forklift with your arms around that left leg, right leg rather. Extend your left leg to straight. Good, and then again, just find that side to side. I'm gonna spin around here. Okay, so maybe just stay here like this. Perhaps start to snuggle that right leg up over your right arm. This is like the seated version of what we just did. And you can see that my right hip sit bone is lifting. That's absolutely fine. So you're going to take your left hand, grab the outer edge of your right foot, right fingertips come down. So compass pose, we're going to call this variation on a turkey flying pose. So you're wrapping those right ribs up towards the ceiling, looking up underneath that top arm. And maybe you're nowhere near. You're like, this is nuts. What did I get myself into today? Let it go. Extend the legs to straight. Give them a little shake out. Knees bend in. Crossing left ankle above your right knee, flexing that foot. So maybe staying here. This is a great place to stay. You're a young turkey that hasn't learned how to fly yet. And that's a good place to be. Maybe making that forklift, perhaps extending your right leg to straight. And then just find that side to side. You can continue doing this. You can just stay here like this, sitting nice and tall. If you would like, snuggle that right arm or left arm underneath that left leg. And those fingertips come out. You're going to grab the outer edge of your left foot with your right hand. And then you kick that leg to straight any amount. It might not go there. As you're doing that, you're spinning your left ribs to the right, keeping those right toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Not an easy pose to get. So just be happy with wherever you're at. Start to come on out wherever you're at. Oh, nice work. From here, we're going to come onto our backs. We're going to do a little bridge pose, which is going to feel really nice to just open up the thoracic, the back body in a really nice and even way. And we're going to do a couple actives, and then we'll come into a supported bridge pose. So a little resting bridge pose. So if you have blocks handy or a book, something like that, a firm cushion, that will work. So laying down, landing with your ankles underneath your knees, arms by your side. Just going to gaze straight up at the ceiling here as you inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips up, direct your tailbone forward. Exhale, lower. Inhaling, lifting. It need not be very big. Good. Exhale, lower. We're going to do a few more rounds of this, just kind of warming everything up. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, releasing down. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, release. This time as you inhale, lift and hold. Your choice. You grab the outer edges of your mat, snuggle your shoulders underneath you. You continue to gaze up as you're doing that, or you might be able to interlace your fingers underneath you. Same thing. You're just doing a little shimmy, shimmy, shake, shake in the upper body. And as you inhale, feel the upper chest expanding towards your chin. Notice the length in the back of the neck. Have you started to roll to the outer edges of your feet? It happens in this pose. So find your Tadasana feet, your mountain pose feet. There is a sensation that the arches are lifting ever so gently. Good. One more deep inhale. As you exhale, slowly wind down. And then we're going to come into our supported bridge pose. So we're all a little different. Most of us are going to do probably the low or the medium height of the block. If you do have two blocks, it can be nice to stack them the low way on top of each other. And that's going to give you a deeper back bend with a lot of support. Like I said, they're all good. Less is more. So you press into your feet, slide your block or blocks underneath your sacrum. The sacrum is that triangle at the bottom of your tailbone. So what happens here is we usually get the blocks too high in the lumbar. So you can see my buns are draping over the blocks a lot, and it feels not good. So you want to make sure it's more like your buns are on the block. So you feel pretty stable and secure here. And then just go ahead and close your eyes if they're not already. See if you can start to slow down and stretch out your breath. We've done a lot to stretch out the hip flexors today. So if you'd like to continue in that vein, maybe you press forward through your right leg, then your left. If you're doing this variation, legs coming straight, I do strongly encourage you to activate those legs. So the toes point up towards the ceiling. If you're just relaxing and you start to get that external rotation, it can put a lot of pressure on the lumbar and not feel very good. You might come into this variation and be like, this isn't for me. If that's you, you just bend the knees again. If your legs are extended, go ahead and bend. And then we're going to press into our feet here. Scoot the blocks out from underneath you and then lower down. Walk your feet as wide as the mat. Bring your arms out in a T shape. And then so slow, knees fall to one side, then to the other. So just imagine that you're moving through molasses here. There's no rush. Let's do one more complete cycle. Let's just make sure that you feel even. And then knees will come up to center, heel, toe your feet so that they're hips distance apart. And we're going to get into the hips a little more here. So let's take our right ankle, cross it above the left knee. You can take your right hand, press it into that right thigh. Should be feeling a nice stretch in that hip. If you'd like to go a little further, you're welcome to bend your left knee into your chest. Right hand comes through this triangle you've made. You interlace fingers either around your left thigh or your left shin, maybe wedging that right elbow into that right thigh. Try to keep the shoulder blades releasing down into your mat. And then finally, if you feel like you have a little more still here today, so that forklift vision or version that we did seated, maybe you can take that here. You could also do the cradle version here. Keep this right foot flexed as you're doing that, and then perhaps start to extend that left leg to straight. You could even do a little of that side to side, rocking here if that feels good. A few more good breaths. Notice how your breath has started to shift of its own accord. It's starting to slow down as we've begun to slow down. Enjoy that. All right, so if you're in a variation here, just make yourself or make your way out the same way you came in. And then we all uncross our right ankle. Take left ankle above right knee, flex the foot, left hand into left thigh. So for a lot of us, this is a really nice intense stretch. This might be where you stay. It's a good place to be. If you'd like to go a little deeper, bend that right knee and left hand comes through this triangle, interlacing fingers either around your thigh or your shin. A lot of that has to do with the length of your bones. I have monkey arms. And then you might take that left elbow and wedge it into that left thigh here. You are trying to let your shoulder blades release down into the mat. So if you're rounding up a lot, maybe either put a blanket or block underneath your head or consider releasing the leg down. And then again, if you would like to take this a little deeper still, so the laying down version of what we did seated, so either fork lifting that left lower leg with your elbows, or you can rock the baby again. You can find a little side to side movement in that hip if it feels okay. Couple more good breaths. From here, if that right leg is extended, just bend the knee. And then we make our way out of this side. When you've done that, bend both knees in. Let's come into another happy baby here. So it's going to feel a lot different. We've done a lot this past hour to warm things up. So maybe you're getting in a little deeper. If you would like to here, you might hook your big toes with your middle and index finger and then take the legs to straight. That can feel really nice for some of us. This is like a laying down upavista, so wide angle forward fold. We have the advantage of having the floor underneath our spine here, so we keep it nice and long. And then wherever you're at, just draw your knees in, give them one final squeeze into your chest. And from here, you make your way into your Shavasana. If there is sensation in your lower back, you're going to keep the knees bent, knocking in towards each other. You could also roll up a blanket and place it underneath your knees. Otherwise, you can come into your classic Shavasana. So take up space, make any little adjustments, feel really comfortable, relaxed, and still here. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes. I'll call you out when we're done. Soak up these final moments of your yoga practice. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Wiggle fingers, wiggle toes, circle ankles, wrists, stretch out. So bringing some gentle movement back to your body. And then you're going to roll to one side or the other. Just find a comfortable seat. Check in, notice how you feel here. So hopefully it feels like you're seated with a greater sense of ease and strength and length. Hopefully your breath is a little steadier and deeper. And then as a result of body and breath working together, notice how your headspace is shifted. So hopefully you're feeling a little calmer. You might even be feeling the release of all of those feel-good exercise chemicals happening in your brain. So soak that up. It's the best medicine. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard, and just promise yourself that you're going to carry this feeling with you into the rest of the day and the rest of the week ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Gobble, gobble. Thank you, everybody.